What's going on, people? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Mordzs, and I've got another video. As you can see, the background still looks a little bit different. That means you know I'm in the studio. But listen, today what I want to do is, I've not done this in a few months, and I want to actually do this a little bit differently as well. So I'm going to do a keep, loan, sell. Well, like a keep, loan / bench sell, because some players, I don't want to send them out, but I feel like they could still play for United, but just be on the bench. You know what I mean? Like, if they are going to play for us, they can be a good bench player. And quickly, I'm already getting this, like, you know me, sometimes I go on tangents, but some players, like, there's no problem being a bench player. Like, Origi was probably one of the best bench players ever, and he helped Liverpool win a Champions League. Like, there's nothing wrong with being a bench player. You know, there's some players on our team that are just very good at being on the bench, being substitute. So that is going to be an option. But one thing I want to do differently is I'm going to add another category, which is, will they play for United in the next 3 to 5 years when we are hopefully competing for a Premier League title? Because I feel like we are going to be competing in the next, it could be 3 years, it could be 5 years, but at least I think 3 years is a good amount of time for things to click, you know, for some players, and for, you know, Amorim to bring in a certain, you know, amount of players, considering, you know, Arteta has been at Arsenal for 5 years and he's competing now, you know what I mean? He's still not won, but he's competing. I think Amorim can do it in 3 to 5 years. So there's certain players that I'm going to speak about in terms of, will they start for us, but also will they start in the next 3 to 5 years if we do go on to compete for a Premier League title? So let me know in the comments all of you guys' opinion on the keep, loan, sell / bench, but also which players will start from a Premier League competing team. So starting off, I mean, I may as well use this one as an example. Bayern Day. Now, I feel like right now he probably deserves to start. It's difficult, you know, it is difficult because I get it. I've said before, and I've said it on the United stand, that I feel like Onana's made one too many mistakes for me. In fact, he's made way more than one too many mistakes. But to me, the Brighton one was the last straw. He didn't even need to make a mistake. That's why it was so frustrating. Like, it wasn't even a shot, it was a cross, and he made a mistake that led to a goal. That one hurt my head. I saw a stat the other day that said something like, Onana, since he's been here, has made 10 mistakes in like a year and a half, and De Gea made like 17 in the whole time he was here. That's like 10, 12 years that De Gea was here, and he made 70 mistakes. Onana's made more than half of that in the year and a half. That means he's on course to make like 50 mistakes for United in the next like 5 years. We can't have that as a goalkeeper. You can't. And he's at the age now, and I'm slowly moving on to Onana because the goalkeeper situation, they're both kind of together anyway. But he's not at a young age where you can give him that benefit of the doubt, like, you know what, he's still got a lot to learn, it's a new league. No, you're a big 27-year-old man. You're an international, you know, you play for your country week in, week out. You've been in Champions League finals. You know, you're very experienced. You can't be making this amount of mistakes at that point in your career. To me, it's just, well, either you're good enough to play for United or at this level, or you're not. So far, he's shown that he's not. Now, there's loads of goalkeepers that can do a good job. Yeah, you could probably take, you know, Flecken, or take any keeper from, you know, Matt Sells is doing very well for Forest, but go and take any keeper from any lower, you know, team at the bottom of the league or whatever, and they could do a good job for us. But consistently and being there, you know, in the big games, that's what separates, you know, the top keepers from you know, those, you know, the bottom keepers, you know, the lower ranked keepers. And yeah, I don't think Onana is one of those top keepers. So for Onana, moving on anyway, I would say it's weird. I'd start them both because it's like the Fulham game, he didn't even have to do anything. You know, there wasn't really much for him to do. So they're both kind of a start-ish. Right now, I'm leaning more to Bayern Day, I'll be honest. None of them will start for us in a Premier League competing side. They both would have to be replaced, in my opinion. And another point I want to make is, I honestly believe that being a goalkeeper is the hardest position on the pitch. Not in terms of ability. Yeah, you could say being a centre mid or striker, wingers, it takes more footballing ability to play those positions. But in terms of pressure, the difficulty for goalkeepers is huge. You don't have a margin of error. For everybody else, look at a player like Bruno Fernandes. I love Bruno Fernandes, but he could make 10, 15 mistakes in a game. He could miss 5-yard passes, lose the ball, be wasteful, miss a whole load of shots. He could even miss a penalty. But if he scores one goal at the end of the game, it's his name that the fans are singing. It's his name that's on the headlines. It's his, he gets the man of the match. And the same thing could happen for strikers. Haaland could go missing for 90 minutes and in the last 2 minutes score a goal. And, it's his name that everyone remembers. And for them players, they kind of have a little bit more cushion. They got a bit more cushion during the game to kind of sit back on. A goalkeeper, you make 3-4 mistakes in a season, you might get sold. Forget like the fans might boo you. You might get replaced if you make that many mistakes in a season. Forget in a game. In a season. Like Onana's made 10 mistakes since he's been here for a year and a half. That's on average. That's averaging what? It's been a year and a half. So let's just say last season he made 7 mistakes, and this season he's made like 3. We're talking about getting rid of this guy. That's the kind of pressure that goalkeepers have. They don't have any kind of safety. It's like, well, either you're almost perfect or you're not good enough. Simple as. And that's why I think it's super difficult, because one moment for a goalkeeper can literally define a career. Look at Emi Martinez. I'm not saying he was a bad goalkeeper before the World Cup, because he was still a very good goalkeeper before the World Cup, but that save that he made elevated his career and put him in a whole nother conversation. Now people are talking about him being the best goalkeeper in the world, or he's winning awards for being the goalkeeper of the year or goalkeeper of the season. Now he's in a different conversation because that moment meant a lot. It was a big moment, and he stood up and he rose to the occasion. And he's done that before. I call it, people say he's a moments goalkeeper, but he has done that before, penalty saves, etc. But then you look at someone like, Karius, bad game for Liverpool. I don't know where he is now. Genuinely, I don't even know where he is right now. That's the levels when it comes to with goalkeepers. You make big mistakes, people remember it forever. You make huge saves, again, people remember it forever. The margin of error is very small, and that's why I feel like it's difficult, because you might only make 5 saves in a game, but one mistake and you are the criminal. You are the criminal for that game. But anyway, listen, I spoke about goalkeepers way too much right now. But yeah, Onana, he wouldn't start. Onana wouldn't start for us if we were competing. Bayern wouldn't start for us if we were competing. But both of them could possibly start now. They're both not good enough in general. That's just it. All right, moving on. I'm going to rush through most of these, by the way, because I don't want to spend too long. I don't want it to be like a 45-minute video. And not all these are that interesting. But yeah, so Victor Lindelof, sell. Nothing more to say about that. He earns 120 grand a week. We talk about Rashford earning 300 grand a week. Victor Lindelof earns 120,000 pounds a week. I don't even know what he's doing. I don't know if he's even injured. I don't know if he's even available. I don't even know if he might be on loan. I don't know anything about Lindelof. 120 grand a week. That's the kind of wages that we're paying out. Anyway, Mazraoui, great player. Been one of our signings of the seasons. I want to give him a bit more time before I say, you know what, he is a certified starter for a Premier League contending team. I'm still not 100% convinced, but I'm leaning more to yes, he would be starting for a Premier League contending team. It's not 100% yes, because I don't think I've seen him for long enough, and I don't even think I've seen him in his preferred position. I don't even know what his preferred position even is. He's been playing right wing back, right centre back. So depending on where he fits in, I'm going to give it a bit more time. But right now, so far so good, De Ligt, yes, start. Do I think he start for us if he will compete for the Premier League in the next 3 to 5 years? Yes, I actually do think he will be. I think he's got that experience. He has had 1 or 2 games where he's looked a bit iffy. I think what game was it now? Was it the Newcastle game or the Liverpool game where he kind of had a handball and he gave away a penalty? I think it was the Newcastle game. He gave away a penalty. That was a bit of a tough game for him, but it's not regular. He's more consistent on the positive side. So yeah, I think he has it in him to be a top centre-back in the Premier League. Harry Maguire, start, yes. He's probably been one of our best defenders or centre-backs this season. Do I think he started real competing for the Premier League in the next 3 to 5 years? No. No, I do not think he would be. Let me see, how old is he actually? That's an interesting question. How old is Harry Maguire? I don't know. My phone is bugging out. He's not young. I'll say that he's not young. So why is? Oh, there you go. Yeah. So yeah, I don't think he'd even be here in the next 3 to 5 years. Let's be real. So he might not be here next season. Well, at the end of next season. So yeah, I was starting for now. Martinez, another interesting one. I would still start him. However, I think he has good attributes, like his passing range, and even his shooting ability. He scored a couple of goals recently, and I thought, you know what? I know the last one was deflected, but that Liverpool goal, I thought, I did not know he had that in his bag. I knew he could pass. You know, I saw the pass against City that led to Ahmad's goal. The pass against, I think, Rangers or somebody, maybe Brighton. Was it? No, it wasn't Brighton. I think Rangers. Was it Rangers? Yeah, the passing behind to Bruno, the match winner. Great pass again. He definitely can break those lines, you know, and get it into them channels through his passing. But I'm not 100% convinced, you know. I'm not 100% convinced. But so far, I would say, yeah, he is definitely a starter for Man United. Maybe he could be a starter in the next 3 to 5 years. Malacia Sell, irrelevant. Euro, send him on loan. Like, I feel like United, we're scared to send players on loan sometimes. But for some reason, it's like, it works. Like, it works. Sending players on loan works. Look at Amad Diallo. We sent him to Rangers. He struggled that season. We thought, you know what? We still believe in him. We're going to send him on loan again. Instead of just selling him to a smaller club, we're going to send him on loan again to Sunderland. And look what happened. He smashed it, and now he's one of our best players. Send players on loan. What's wrong with that? I feel like with United, when we see a player with potential, or when we sign a young player, we think, no, we have to hold on to him. We have to hold on to him. Like, we can't send him out. But like, look at Elanga. If we sent out Elanga on loan for 2 years or for a year or 2 years, he would have come back this season or next season the player he is right now. We would have had a great asset on our hands. We probably could have got way more money for him. Someone like Angel Gomez, send him out on loan. We could have got way more money from it if we kept him at the club and just kept sending him out on loan. Maybe, yeah, these players wanted to leave. Fair enough. I can understand that. But send these young players out on loan. Alvaro Fernandez, imagine if we just kept on sending him out on loan and he kept on developing and we brought him back. James Garner, I know he's not like a top player or whatever, but another player that could have developed somewhere else, or, I mean, obviously he's at Everton, could have brought him back. You know, another player in the team that we could have used. Who else is there? I mean, we sent out Ethan Wheatley on loan, and there's a couple of players that we have sent, but stop being scared to send players out on loan. It works. Like, it actually works. And I feel like Lenny Euro, I feel like he is good enough to play for Man United, but at 18 years old, he's got so much time, like so much time. If we would send him out on loan to any club, you know, that is competing at a decent level, he's going to get a lot more game time, less pressure, way less pressure on his back. I feel like it could do him wonders. It could do him wonders. So yeah, that's what I feel. I still feel like he's good though. Like, he wouldn't start right now. He'd probably be on the bench. But yeah, in the next 5 years, he will be a Man United starter. Dalot, it's an interesting one, man. Me and Dalot had a few back and forth that season, not personally, but you know, I was backing Wan-Bissaka for a lot. You know, last season I was in the trenches as well. I was in the trenches backing Wan-Bissaka against Dalot. And to be fair, this season, he's proved me right. He's proved me right because Dalot's had a pretty underwhelming season. Wan-Bissaka's having a great season for West Ham, and then people might say, well, that's just his level. Well, what level are we at? You know, like what level are United at to even say that? But I do like Dalot though as a person, as a player. I just think he's got that passion for the club. He plays for the badge. He's a workhorse. He's a runner. You know, he tries hard. He doesn't give up. But these are all attributes that are not. They're not long-term attributes. But the more attributes that you'll get at any club, you know, he should be working hard. Everyone should be working hard. You know, he should be working hard at any club you play for. I would rather be talking about attributes that are gonna, you know, take you to that next level, or put you in, you know, the Trent conversations. When you talk about Trent, you don't talk about how he works hard and he's a good guy. And you talk about his flipping passing ability and the way he can find any player and his vision, and that's what you talk about. But yeah, Dalot, I'd start him for now. Do I think he'd start for us in the next 5 years if he was competing for a title? No, I don't think he would. Luke Shaw, sell. It's just getting boring now. Like, it's actually just getting boring now. I don't even know what to say. I think he's back in training again. It's like every time we get a new left back, you know, we just got a dog you in the window. Every time we get a new left back, Luke Shaw just pops up out of nowhere. All of a sudden, injury's done, I didn't even know he was in training until yesterday, or today actually, the day I'm recording it. And he's back. Like, I don't know. Like, probably send him out alone. You know, that might do him some justice. Johnny Evans, retire. I'll be honest, retire, bro. It's time. It's time. Look after your kids. Look after your or have some grandkids. I don't even know. But like, yeah, you've done enough, bro. You won the Premier League. You won the Champions League. You play for multiple clubs. You're a Premier League veteran. Retire, bro. Go live your life. Moving on to midfielders. Mason Mount. I am giving Mason Mount 1 more year. When I say 1 more year, I genuinely mean like from now till next January. I don't mean 1 more season, like from the whole of next season. No, I'm talking about until next January. If Mason Mount can't give this club, I don't even know, 6 months of football. I'm talking about. Look, I'll allow the rest of this season. I might, if he can't come back before the end of the season, cool. Use this time to fully recover. I mean, fully. Like, if walking is a risk, don't walk. Crawl, get a wheelchair, get crutches, I don't know. Recover fully. Because from the start of next season up until January, if you don't have a run of games, you might not start every game, fair enough. But if you don't have a strong run of games where you are playing regular minutes without getting injured, that's it. I've fully given up on Mason Mount. Fully. I mean, I'm already on the edge of giving up anyway, but he's got to fix up because it's looking like a sell, I'll be honest, or maximum bench. Bruno Fernandes, obviously start. The sad thing is if we don't compete for Premier League in the next 5 years, Bruno won't be here because Bruno will be 35 years old. I can't see it happening. I know the Real midfielders that at that age that are still competing. Modric, Cruz, these guys, play till the later years. But I don't know. I can't see Bruno even running like the way he runs right now in 5 years. It'll be difficult physically, fatigue-wise. I can't see it, but I would still start him now. And I do hope that Bruno lifts the Premier League, for United. That is one of my the fire alarm went off. I don't know if you heard it, but yeah, back into this video. I do hope Bruno does, lift the Premier League for United. It will be a good, considering, how much he's put in for the club. He's never really, fallen out really with anyone or any of the managers or kind of given up on the club or, he's been there. He's been a good servant, a good soldier for the club. So I do want to see Bruno have a good ending. I don't want it to end badly like how it's ended badly for pretty much nearly every other player that we've had. I do want it to end well. Eriksen, he's going to leave the end of the season anyway, so we can't even sell him. Casemiro, I'll be honest, retire. Don't even sell him, retire. You've won 5 Champions League, bro. how greedy, how much more do you want to do? Go, retire, look after your kids. Go swimming, go paddle, go play paddle or something. Go do something else with your life, bro. You've done everything. Your trophy cabinet is stacked. Your CV is rich, bro. Just retire. Just leave it. Leave the game. I'm not even saying the game's left him. Whether it probably has, but he should just leave the game anyway. Bro, you're being greedy now. You're being selfish. Leave the game. Ugarte, interesting one again. I do think he obviously is good enough to start right now because he's been probably one of our best players this season, and up there with Mazraoui. Probably might be above Mazraoui in terms of our signing of the season. But I'm not sure if he is at the level to be starting for a Premier League competing team. Maybe in the next 3 to 5 years, yeah. And to be fair, he does seem to be progressing a lot every single game. So I can see him actually getting to that point in that amount of time. But so far, doing very well. I'm just not convinced that he is a Premier League competing midfielder yet. He will be though, hopefully. Mainoo, yeah, start, and I also do think he will be. He could fit into a Premier League competing team. I think he'd walk into an Arsenal team. I think he'd walk into a City team right now. Maybe not Liverpool because their midfield is pretty good right now. But I think would he walk into Chelsea? Maybe he might walk into Chelsea's team. He walk into a lot of teams. He walk into Forest. Forest have got a good midfield. Don't get twisted. But I do feel like he could fit in there. And they're top 4 right now, top 3 maybe. Yeah, they're trying to get onto Kobe recently, and I'm gonna keep pushing. My Kobe agenda. Man, I'm not gonna try and disrespect Kobe when I'm on these shows anyway. Until he does something that's until he's making a team worse, I'm gonna keep backing Kobe. Toby Collier. Bench for now. I don't want to see too much pressure on Toby. I made a whole video about him earlier, or a few days ago, whenever, maybe last week. But yeah, benching for now. I don't want to. There's too much. I know what the United fan base is like. They just love to just apply crazy pressure on young players, and then when they don't fulfill it, they get onto them and then they just push them down, and it's wild. So yeah, I would keep him on the bench. Do I feel like he'll be a starting player for United next 3 to 5 years? Probably not. Probably not. I think it will take a lot of development. Again, I hope he does. I mean, I'd want him to be. You know, why not? Because why would I not want him to be? But I don't know. I don't see it. But I feel like he would be a great sub, and I don't see the problem with that. You know, for some reason, United or United fans, no, not even United fans, just United in general, we don't like subs. Like, nobody wants to be a sub for our team anymore. What's wrong with being a sub? Origi was one of the best subs ever. He won a Champions League being one of the best subs we've ever seen in the Premier League. He won a Premier League, one of the best subs being ever seen in the Premier League. There's nothing wrong with being a great sub. I think that's why Liverpool even won that season. The reason why they did so well is because their bench players knew they were bench players. Oxlade-Chamberlain, Shaqiri, Milner, Origi. These guys knew they were bench players and they embraced it. And when it was time to play, they stood up and they said, it's go time. And that's why they were able to, you know, stay ahead in all these competitions and end up winning in the end. We don't have any players that want to be on the bench. Like, no one wants to be on the bench in the long term anyway. No one wants to be on the bench. Like, it's okay. It's okay. You could develop and become, you know, if you're a younger player, you can develop and become a starting player, but it's okay to be a bench player for now. It's perfectly fine. Rasmus Højlund, another player that we should have sent out on loan. Looking at Rasmus Højlund right now, he's clearly not at the level of the Premier League. Clearly not. Whatever potential we thought we saw, we were lied to. He's not at the level of a Premier League player. He can play there. You know, everyone can you know, have a good game here and there and score goals and whatever. But I think that's the reason why he plays so well in Europe, because the standards are a little bit lower, you know, especially because we're playing in Europa League. It's a lot easier. To be fair, he was doing the Champions League last year, so I will give him that. But I just don't think he's a Premier League player. But again, like I said before, there's nothing wrong with being a sub. I mean, not a sub. There's nothing wrong with going on loan. There is nothing wrong. If we had sent Højlund out on loan straight away, the same way we sent out Ahmad on loan. I mean, Højlund came in at what, 2021? Go out on loan, go to a difficult league as well. Difficult Turkish league, Ukrainian league, the Romanian league, the Russian league. Send him somewhere far. Actually, no, that's too close to home for him. I know Denmark's still in Europe. Send him outside of Europe to, I don't even know. Where's just the South American league? Send him to Brazil or somewhere, or somewhere in Africa, the Ugandan league, the Nigerian league. Send him somewhere difficult where he just has to fight and hustle. You know, he's got to hustle to even stay awake, he's got to fight, you know what I'm saying? Like, to even eat, you got to go and walk and carry water. Like, he needs to be in the trenches. I need to see Højlund get physically stronger, mentally stronger before he comes back. That's what I wanted to see from Højlund. Right now, it just feels like, I don't know, like, it just feels like, I don't know, it just doesn't, I'm not convinced. I want to see, I wish he went out on loan, and I get it. He's 70-something million pounds. That's a lot of money to send out a player on loan, but look, either that or we're going to have another Sancho. What do you want? Sancho, 70+ million pound, we ended up sending him out on loan. What, we're going to sell him for 20 million, 25 million? Do you want that to happen again? You know what I mean? Like, do you want that to happen again? Because if Højlund keeps playing for United, he's going to end up like Sancho. We're going to end up selling him for like 20 million. We're going to lose all that money that we made on him, or that we bought him for. I don't want that to happen, so I'd send him out on loan. Marcus Rashford, sell. I say this all the time, the conversation with Rashford is getting boring for me, I'll be so real. Like, last season it was interesting because of the season he had before that. You know, it was like will he ever get back to that point? And it was an interesting conversation, especially with the fact that, you know, there were so many other problems at the club. It was like, even though he was bad, because there were so many other problems out at the club, it was like, you kind of gave him a little bit of a bly. But now it's just like, he said he wants to go, the club want to get rid of him, the manager wants to get rid of him. Like, that's just it. Like, the only time the Rashford conversation gets interesting for me is deadline day. And if he's still here on deadline day, you know, we could talk about that all day, because now there's a whole nother conversation to be had. What is going to happen? I know he's still at training. I know I seen a video of him today at training. But look, yeah, I just feel like the conversation doesn't get interesting until deadline day. Right now, it's just loads of he say, she say, Barca, Dortmund, Napoli, West Ham, Saudi. Like, I don't even, genuinely, I'm so tired of this conversation. But anyway, next, Xerxes. Another very interesting conversation. I think he's a bench player for now. I don't think he'd even be a bench player if we were competing for a title. Like, I feel like he might be able to start for another Premier League team a bit lower down with less pressure, but he just doesn't have the attributes to be a starter for a Premier League competing side. He just doesn't. And I get it, he's playing better than Højlund, but because both of them are so poor, let me not be harsh, but because both of them are so underwhelming, like they're not good enough. Because both of them are not good enough, it makes Xerxes look a whole lot better. You know, let's be so real. It makes him look 10 times better because him and Højlund are both nowhere near the standard that we need. You know what I mean? So it's like going flipping Mackey's and it's dead. You go Burger King, it's a little bit better, but it's like, well, Burger King's still dead though. Like, it's still not good food. Like, but it might be a little bit better than Mackey's, but it's not great. You know what I'm saying? It's not great food. That's the same with Xerxes and Højlund. So I think for now, to be fair, for now, he'd probably be a starter, you know, considering how poor Højlund's been recently. But in the future, yeah, I can't see it. Can't see it with Xerxes. Ahmad, great player. Start him, you know, and he'd be starting for the next 3 to 5 years. Ain't really much else to say about that. Like I said before, he went out on loan, he did what he needed to do, came back and was a better player, you know, so yeah, big up to Ahmad, man. And also, this is what I wanted to say actually. One thing I love about Ahmad as well is he just seems happy to be here, and I feel like that's the mentality that we need from our players. There's certain players in the club that they come across as though like they feel like they deserve it. And yes, everyone should have a bit of confidence in themselves and they should believe that they should, you know, be at this club. But there's a little bit of ego with certain players, I feel like, and they feel like, you know what, it comes across as though they feel like they've got like a God-given right to play for United. No one's bigger than the badge. I'll tell you that for free. No one's bigger than the badge. Nobody's bigger than the club. You should be grateful. It should be an honour to play for United. It should be an honour to be able to walk out in the theatre of dreams. It should be an honour to be able to put on that kit, sit in that changing room and be part of that United team. Even if you're not starting, to be on the bench, it should be an honour to even do that. And there's certain players that I feel like they don't have that, they don't show that. They don't show that kind of mentality. They don't come across as though they feel like it's a blessing, it's an honour to even be part of United. And I feel like Ahmad does have that. And that's why he plays every day, every game, almost like it's his last game. You know, he runs like he's still trying to prove himself. Ahmad, you know you've proved yourself, you know. Now, Ahmad's proved himself to everyone already, but he still plays like, you know what, I still have to fight for this. And to be fair, you know, I see pictures and videos of Ahmad's upbringing and, you know, where he came from, and he obviously came from humble beginnings, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't a silver spoon child. So it kind of feels like he's still got that mentality of, I need to get out of the hood. You know, it feels like Ahmad's still trying to get out of the hood with the way he plays, and I love that. I love that. I need all of our players to try and get out of the hood. I don't care how much money you might earn in, you should have that mentality when playing for this team. And the ones who don't, I don't want to see them at the club. I'll be so real. But Ahmad does have that, and that's why I appreciate the way he plays. So big up to Ahmad, man. Big up to Ahmad. Garnacho, last player I'm going to talk about. And again, he's another player that we should have sent out on loan. Listen, people say that like they don't feel like I've heard people say that they feel like this is the highest, you know, the most amount of money that Garnacho would be valued in general. Like this is the most we're ever going to get out of him. That's cap. I get it. The first season that we had Garnacho, we needed him. Not the first season, but like Ten Hag last season, pretty much. We needed him because we didn't have a lot of attacking players, and the ones that we did have were just poor. They were just terrible. Everyone was just underwhelming. Anthony, Rashford, Mount, like Bruno. Everyone was just kind of playing below standard, you know. So I get it. We needed Garnacho to kind of just be there, just play. You know, what's the worst that could happen? But imagine if we sent out Garnacho to, like, I don't know, the Championship or to just a smaller club in the Premier League or something like that. He would have turned into a beast. Like, he would have turned into an absolute beast. There would have been no pressure because nobody would have been watching him closely because he would have gone. We wouldn't have sent him out to loan. The way we're looking at Garnacho now, we're saying, yeah, he should go on loan to Chelsea or go to. It wouldn't have been one of those teams. It would have been a smaller club where he could have really developed. I mentioned again Elanga before. You know, what other wingers have we had? I can't think right now. But if we just sent him out on loan to one of these other teams, and he went and learned his craft with no eyes on him, Bro, Garnacho, honestly, he would have been a £100 million player. I genuinely feel like that's the only way he would have been a £100 million player. Look at someone like Evan Ferguson. Evan Ferguson was playing for Brighton, and yes, he was having a good season last season, considering how young he was. And they were quoting United in around that area, 80, 90, £100 million because of how well he was playing for a smaller club like Brighton. So same with someone like Tyler Diblin. He's playing for Southampton, the worst team we've ever seen, ever, in Premier League history. He's going to get sold for a lot of money. They're going to make a lot of money off Tyler Diblin, even though he's only 18 years old and Southampton are not playing well. And, you know, stats-wise, he's not got crazy goals and assists. But because he's a good player, he's valued very high. I could say the same thing for loads of other teams that have good young players. If Garnacho went out on loan and he just perfected his craft somewhere else, he's very young, he's still 20. He would have went out at 19, great age to go out on loan. And he came back with this new knowledge and this new experience. If we wanted to sell him, we could have still sold him for a lot of money. But we wouldn't have even wanted to do that because we would have thought, you know, we've got a valuable asset here that is good enough to play for us. But yeah, we didn't do that. Now he could go for whatever money, I don't even know. I've always been, you know, I feel like Garnacho should still stay for us unless we get a very good offering. I'm talking about minimum 65, 70. Minimum 65, 70. Anything above that, yeah, I'll happily let him go. But anything below that, I'll still keep him. But anyway, that's the end of the video. Let me know, like I said, I forgot to even do the starting things. Would he start in 5 years? If he keeps growing and he keeps improving, and he learns from his mistakes and he learns from, you know, these same things that he's been doing every game, yeah, he should be in the next 3 to 5 years. Whether that happens, I do not know. Right now, I think he's a bench player, which again, perfectly fine. It's okay to be a bench player at 20 years old for Man United. You should be happy anyway to be there. But yeah, I'm not too sure if he'd be a full starter in the next 3 to 5 years. But let me know in the comments. Do you agree with that? Do you disagree? Or what are your opinions on all of these players that I've just mentioned? I've pretty much gone through the whole team. Yeah, that's it. That's pretty much everyone. So yeah, let me know in the comments. Who would you keep, start, bench, loan, and who do you think will start for United if we were competing for a Premier League title? Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and I'm going to see you in the next video.